we go to the bug reference.
The ant never saw the door in the ground because it was covered with dirt and leaves. Suddenly up popped the trapdoor, and down went the ant, dragged to its death in a silken tunnel. A trapdoor in the ground built to capture insects? Who engineered such a thing? And how did this trapdoor expert know precisely when to open it and catch the ant? Using its spiny rake of teeth, located on the margins of its jaws, the large and hairy trapdoor spider digs a tube-like burrow in the ground. Earth and saliva will coat the walls, and then the burrow will be completely lined with silk. To make the door, the spider continues spinning the silken walls to cover the tunnel opening. The spider then cuts around the rim of the opening, leaving one side attached for the hinge. The outer surface is covered with earth or debris to hide the trapdoor. Additional silk is added under the lid to make it fit so tightly that it keeps water out. Patiently the spider waits under the trapdoor. When it feels the vibration of a passing insect, it rushes out, captures the victim, and takes it down the tube. One species of trapdoor spider arranges leaves or twigs around the entrance to the burrow, poking its front legs out and resting them on the twigs. Its legs feel the movement caused by any insect which may walk over the twigs. To the trapdoor spider, this means one thing: dinner has arrived.
Once upon a time, a butterfly lands to protect her eggs. Bumblebees dance, and spiders weave webs. An egg opens up. A caterpillar's born. Flies are abuzz. A beetle nods his horn. The caterpillar munches, makes room to nap. Ants cut up leaves and head home with no map. The cocoon starts to stir. The caterpillar is waking. Crickets are chattering, and the dragonflies shaking. The caterpillar bursts. But wait, it's got wings! A butterfly? What? Do you understand such things? The end.
Let's play Who Am I?
Who am I? You're right. I'm a ladybug. Who am I? You're right. I'm a locust. Who am I? You're right. I'm an ant. Who am I? You're right. I'm a polyhemus moth. Wow, you're pretty good at this. Who am I? You're right. I'm a beetle. Who am I? No, I'm a locust. Keep at it. No, I'm a scorpion. Take another guess. No, I'm a potato beetle. Go again. No, I'm a beetle. Guess again. No, I'm a polyhemus moth. Continue looking. No, I'm a ladybug. Please, try again. No, I'm an ant. Keep guessing. You're right. I'm a butterfly. Who am I? You're right. I'm a potato beetle. Who am I? You're right. I'm a scorpion. You're doing great. Who am I? You're right. I'm a tree hopper. Who am I? You're right. I'm a cockroach. Who am I? You're right. I'm a spider. Who am I? You're right. I'm a gray bug. You're doing great. Who am I? You're right. I'm a stink bug. Who am I? You're right. We're pink aphids. Who am I? No, I'm a cocoon. Keep looking. You're right. I'm a tarantula. Who am I? You're right. I'm a cocoon. Congratulations. You should think about becoming an entomologist.
Congratulations!
Welcome to the Honeycomb Theater.
Be quiet!
I hope this movie has music by the Beatles.
I'm saving this seat for my aunt.
Don't bug me!
My legs fell asleep.
Buzz off! I love B-movies!
I'm so beautiful, look at me. Ha ha ha, I'm so pretty, look at me.
I love bee movies.
Here we go to the bug reference.
How do honeybees make honey? The nectar in the bee's honey stomach undergoes chemical changes as the bee flies home. Inside the hive, the nectar is spit up and passed to a house bee. This bee mixes the nectar with secretions in its mouth, then deposits it in honeycomb cells. Other house bees fan the open cells with their wings, causing the water in the nectar to evaporate. It takes about 3 days for the nectar to be transformed completely into honey. Finally, wax is used to seal each cell the honey was put in. Why do bees make honey? Their lives depend on it. Honey is the high-energy food bees need to be able to work so long and so hard collecting nectar and pollen. Also, the colony's survival in winter depends on having plenty of this vital food. How does a bee get pollen home? The pollen is collected on the bee's hairy body. Every so often, the bee uses its 2 middle legs, which have special stiff hairs, to brush the pollen into an area called the pollen basket, which is located on the back of its hind legs. Once in the hive, the worker kicks off the pollen into a cell of the honeycomb. What is pollen used for? Honeybees feed their larvae a mixture of the pollen and honey called bee bread. Pollen has important fats, proteins, vitamins, and minerals that young bees need for growth. Additionally, the pollen that is collected on the honeybee's body pollinates fruit trees and many other plants. Our fruit trees would not bring forth fruit without the bee line that bees make to flowering trees and plants. This is the most important contribution honeybees make to our world. Which one of your 5 senses, hearing, seeing, smelling, touching, or tasting, is most important to you? You'd probably answer, they're all important to me. Human beings can live without one or more of their 5 senses, but their lives are certainly altered, and their pleasures often diminished. Most insects have 5 senses that are very important to their existence, too. An insect's most important sense organs are the antennae, which perform very complex functions. Almost every insect has 2 antennae, or feelers, located between their eyes. How serious is it if antennae suffer damage? An insect would become severely handicapped because the antennae are equipped with microscopic hair-like bristles called setae, which enable the insect to find and taste food, to detect currents of air, to feel the texture of surfaces, to hear, and to smell. Although setae may appear all over the body, they are concentrated on the antennae. Did you know that ants and bees use their antennae to smell each other so that they may detect whether the stranger is friend or foe? Did you know that antennae help an insect to fly? Located within the second segment of most antennae is an organ that is highly sensitive to vibration when the insect is flying. Insects know instinctively how important their antennae are. The critters regularly clean their antennae. Ants and bees come equipped with built-in combs on their front legs. Ant watchers can have fun watching an ant lift a leg over one antenna and expertly pass the antenna through the comb then lick the comb clean by passing it through its mouth, much the way a cat washes its face. A cocoon is a silken envelope that many moth larvae or caterpillars wrap themselves in to pass through the pupal stage. These caterpillars have silk-producing glands to spin silk thread. The construction of the silken outer wall of a cocoon is thick and paper-like. The inner silk wall is thin and firm. Some cocoons have loose silk inside to give added comfort. Within the cocoon, wonderful changes take place. Under the control of its hormones, the larva changes into a form called a pupa. During this next stage, the pupa will develop into an adult moth. In the pupa form, the insect needs protection from its enemies and the weather. Hence, what better place to be sheltered but a safe, silken, armored cocoon, attached securely to a plant or twig, or under bark or leaf litter. A fascinating characteristic of arthropods is their unusual external skeleton, or exoskeleton. All invertebrates possess an exoskeleton, which encases their internal organs. An arthropod's exoskeleton protects it from the weather, injury, and water loss. This shell contains varying amounts of an organic compound called chitin. The cell walls of plants are chemically similar to chitin. How hard or rigid the exoskeleton is depends on the amount of protein in its outer layer, or cuticle, not on how much chitin is present, as was once thought. There is actually more chitin in the soft inner cuticle than in the outer layer. Creatures with external skeletons have great strength for their size. Have you ever seen an ant dragging another insect many times its weight? It is the ant's exoskeleton and muscle arrangement that gives it its strength. This outside type of skeleton would not work well on large land creatures. The shell would simply be too heavy to move. That's why very large land arthropods or freshwater arthropods don't exist. The giant fly of a horror movie would be a physical impossibility. Mother potter wasp provides live food in a little clay jug for offspring she will never see. She stings little caterpillars, thus paralyzing them. Then she places the still live caterpillars in a little jug she constructs all by herself out of mud. It is plastered while wet and left to dry. Mother wasp lays a single egg, usually on the wall above the caterpillar victims inside the pot. Sealing up the jug-shaped nest with clay, off she goes to build and stock more little jugs. She usually constructs 2 or 3 side by side up on a twig. The egg hatches into a larva and finds itself surrounded by fresh food to eat. As it develops, the larva eats all the stored paralyzed caterpillars. Mother provides just enough food to eat, never an excess, or the caterpillars would putrefy while the larva was in the pupal state. How does the wasp get out of the jug? When it is full grown, its powerful jaws can cut open the end of the jug. For the rest of its adult life, the wasp will never eat meat again, only nectar and sap. These little clay jugs look similar to the form of jugs and baskets created by Indians. Did the Indians copy the potter wasp's design? No one knows, but we do know that the potter wasp didn't copy the design from the Indians. How does an ant queen start a colony? In the northern hemisphere, the activities of the commonly named garden or cornfield ant provides an interesting example. In the spring, all the males and young winged queen ants leave the nest and fly high in the air and mate. Most of these ants don't survive very long because birds and other creatures eat them. Any surviving male soon dies, having fulfilled its purpose in life. However, the few ant queens that survive the marriage flight cast off their wings and instinctively begin to hunt for a spot to start a new ant colony. After excavating a nest, the young queen seals off the entrance, and soon begins to lay eggs. Some of the first batch are eaten for nourishment. The surviving eggs hatch within a few days and become white, worm-like larvae. After a few weeks, each larva spins a cocoon around itself and pupates. In a few weeks, adult workers emerge. The queen mother takes care of the first batch of larvae until they emerge from their cocoons as adult workers. It is now their job to hunt for food and expand the nest. More and more workers develop, and the colony gets very organized. The new workers, not the queen, become caretakers of the eggs, larvae, and pupae. The queen's only duty now is to lay more eggs, thousands of them in her lifetime. Eventually, many wingless workers develop and help to enlarge the nest into an intricate network of tunnels and chambers that may eventually house hundreds, even thousands of members. When the colony is well established, the queen begins to lay some eggs that develop into males and queens. It takes a number of years before a colony becomes large enough and strong enough to send out some winged males and queens to establish more colonies, beginning the cycle again. In an ancient book, an observer of ants noticed that the ant has no commander, officer, or ruler. Is this true? Some people think that the ant queen is the ruler in an ant colony, but that is not so. The queen lays all the eggs, from which all the other ants in the nest develop. However, there is no need for a commander, officer, or ruler, because each ant instinctively devotes itself to specific tasks that keep the complex social structure of an ant colony intact. It's worth its weight in gold. When one Asian silkworm egg, weighing only 1/30,000th of an ounce, hatches, the emerging caterpillar will produce a beautiful silk thread. In demand for thousands of years, silk has been one of the world's most valuable fibers. Many caterpillars produce silk, but nothing like the caterpillar of the Asian silkworm moth, known as Bombyx mori. This caterpillar's silk-producing gland, which opens into a spinneret on its mouth, weighs about a quarter of its weight. Generally, it can spin a single strand of silk fiber into a cocoon that is 1,000 to several thousand feet, 300 meters to 1 kilometer or more in length. It has been reported that Bombyx mori, also known as the Chinese or mulberry silkworm, has spun cocoons that contained more than 2 miles, 3 kilometers of silk. Tapping this supply of silk involves finding a loose end and a lot of unwinding. According to Chinese historians, the first loose end of a silk fiber from a silkworm cocoon was discovered accidentally by the Chinese Empress Si Lingqi in 2698 BC. Soon after, she began to breed the silkworms. The term silk is actually derived from her name. Only the Empress and her ladies knew how silk was produced, and divulging the secret meant torture and death. For thousands of years, the secret of producing silk remained hidden. However, the process eventually became known to others outside of China. During the Christian era, silk was one of the most costly items in trade between the Roman Empire and the Orient. It was truly a mark of the wealthy. The Emperor Justinian, AD 483 to 565, eventually built a monopoly in the silk trade. He sent 2 Persian monks to China to bring back the means for producing silk to Constantinople. The monks had learned the secret of silk making while residing in China. In 550 AD, using hollow bamboo canes or staffs, they successfully smuggled silkworm eggs into Greece. This was a very dangerous assignment. If the eggs had been discovered in the staffs, the monks would surely have been put to death by the Chinese. Eventually, other nations, such as Korea and Japan, acquired the know-how for making silk. Later, China shared its knowledge with India, and in time the silk industry was established in Europe and later in America. First you see it, then you don't. A hoverfly can hang suspended in the air, its wings vibrating so quickly that the eye cannot see them. It can glide rapidly to one side, or forward or backward, or up or down. Suddenly the fly will vanish, only to reappear a moment later, hovering over another flower. This ability makes the hoverfly one of the most skillful of all the insect flyers. If you want to see this living helicopter, wait until it is warm and sunny, and you will find one hovering over flowers, as well as feeding from them. Look for a two-winged fly with black and yellow markings that resembles a bee. As flower pollinators, these flies are second only to bees in importance. Why do they hover? No one seems to know why, except maybe to have fun using their hovering equipment. Ladybird, ladybird, fly away home. Your house is on fire, your children do roam, except little Nan, who sits in a pan, weaving gold laces as fast as she can. Ladybirds, or ladybugs, have been recognized for centuries as important contributors in the war against insect pests. They are highly valued because of their huge appetites for aphids, or plant lice, that destroy many kinds of plants. Hence, they have taken their place in English folklore, with the old nursery rhyme, "Ladybird, ladybird, fly away home." The lines of this cute little rhyme trace back to a custom in England of burning hop vines at harvest time. The vines were covered with aphids, along with thousands of ladybirds and their larvae that were feeding on the aphids. The words of the rhyme recognized the need for the ladybirds to live. As the vines burned, these colorful little beetles flew away, and their larvae quickly crawled to safety. The second stanza of the rhyme refers to one of the very active multicolored larvae weaving its pupal case. Children everywhere have always been fascinated by these little spotted ladybird beetles. It has always been fun for kids to say the little rhyme when they see a ladybird beetle land nearby. Interestingly, the name of these important little insects has its origin in the Middle Ages, when these beetles were dedicated to the Virgin Mary and called Beetles of Our Lady. My name is Black Widow. That's because I'm black in color, and it's said that I eat my mate. Therefore, I'm always a widow. I know you don't like me because I bite and can make people very sick. Why do I do these things? Well, I'd like to tell you my story. The truth is this: I'm not as vicious as many people think. In the insect house at the London Zoo, where black widows have been bred in large numbers for years, individual male spiders have often been mated many times. So I ask you, if all black widows ate their mates every time they mated, how would it be possible to mate a male many times? In truth, our mates are smaller and quite puny. They don't even bite. After mating a few times, they become positively feeble. And that's when we ladies eat them, as we would any little animal that comes our way.
Would you like to see a 3D bug basement? Welcome to my bug basement! Put on your 3D glasses and click on a bug. You can click on the bug to learn more about it. You can
Located on the back of a bee's neck are sense bristles that help the bee to judge the movements of its head. The middle section, or thorax, of a bee is hard, round, and equipped with muscles that power the 6 legs and 4 wings. This is the engine that burns a tiny drop of honey for fuel and enables a bee to travel for miles. Bees have special hooks that join their 2 pairs of wings together in flight, making it appear as if they only have 1 pair of wings.
How do honeybees make honey?
Would you like to see a 3D bug basement? Welcome to my bug basement! Put on your 3D glasses and click on a bug. You can click on the bug to learn more about it. Welcome back to the basement. Pick another bug. You can click on the bug to learn more about it. You can click on the bug. Welcome back to the basement. Pick another bug. You can click on the bug to learn more about it. Welcome back to the basement. You can click on the bug to learn more about it. Welcome back to the basement. Pick. You can click on the bug to learn more about it. Welcome back to the basement.